Okay, we're obviously here with Noel, Stookey, and you know, everybody knows you from way back when, 50 years celebrating Peter, Paul, and Mary. And it's amazing. I was looking at your website. You were trying to accumulate some photographs, any memorabilia, that type of thing, and you were looking for things that, I guess you said prior to 1995, that showcased a lot of your focus, a lot of consciousness and awareness to social issues. Is that kind of what you were searching for from fans?
I think what we want to do is have some kind of visual testimony to the fact that we all, including the people who followed our music as well as those who were involved in the political process, shared a couple of great moments in American history. You know, everything from March on Washington to the protesting war in Vietnam, and then subsequently, you know, our lives didn't stop with the protesting in the 60s, because we realized that human rights is a much broader issue. And we went on to El Salvador, and Mary went to the Soviet Union to explore the ramifications and give body to the concern regarding Soviet Jewry. And I think the pictures are kind of touchstones, you know, along the way, because 50 years of history looking back now is quite a remarkable period of time. It's everything, you know, from Kennedy years right up to the Obama years.
But a lot of your music, obviously it's based on the songwriting aspects. It definitely makes people feel these emotions, and you talk about the human interest. What's changed in this 50 years time span? Where are we today that hasn't or has changed, in your opinion?
Well, I think people became disillusioned when those causes to which they pledged themselves began to fragment. And for instance, when we went back to the 10th anniversary of Martin Luther King's March on Washington, there were banners for equal rights for jobs, there were equal rights for women, there were gay rights, there was another war to talk about. And I think people said, well, it's too fragmented, it's too crazy. But I think what's happening now, and at least what I'm feeling in my heart and soul, is that we need to be reacquainted with the spiritual center of what it is that caused our concern. The spiritual center that caused us to go to those marches, because that is the basis upon which I think we have a larger community and more in common. So I do see that going. I have a line in a song I wrote called Revolution that says, we're a raggle-taggle army, we got no uniform or guns, but we've been called by coincidence, so hey, maybe we're the ones to start a revolution and take it to the street. And that's where I think that the next revolution is going to take place. And the beautiful thing about it is that there's no one group. It's scattered because it comes from an appreciation and a desire to have a community of the heart shared by all people. So I think the big L, love, is the secret, and I think the sooner that we all begin to identify that and live our lives in accord with respect for that in each other's lives, we'll be on our track again.
A couple more things. Obviously, music unites people, and you mentioned about the fragmentation of it, but music does bring people, no matter where you live, what area you live. This festival is very special because it's also in an intimate setting. I'm sure that's kind of what attracts you to this every other year or so.
It's also very accommodating. You know, folk music's big impact in the early 60s, everybody thought was stylistic. There was acoustic guitars and somebody playing a harmonica or singing. But really, folk music's impact was in the context. So what I love is just hearing the lyrics, whether they're done by a contemporary group featuring a keyboard and saxophone player, or whether it's a dobro, or whether it's a country band, or whether it's a Rasta band, or what. So to me, Kerrville is a great encouragement to the broad expression of community, music community.
And it's a familial atmosphere. I noticed both you and Peter Yarrow have your families incorporated into coming, and whether it's singing or with you backstage.
That's true.
And I think it's part of the atmosphere here as well.
That's true. Yeah, it's very family friendly.
And I just have to ask, the passing of somebody so important as Mary, and she was obviously part of the family. It's been not quite a year. I'm sure that, not talking about that, but just being with Peter again, it's going to be special still performing with him a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. You know, funny you should bring that up, because over the telephone the other day, we never really talked that much when the trade was happening. We'd wait till we get to the concert, and then we'd catch up. And Mary always insisted on having a schmooze period, we just talked, and then we could get to rehearsal or whatever. But I noticed that Peter and I are spending these long, really wonderfully deep conversations over the telephone. And so I said to him one day, I said, well, why do you suppose that happened? And he took psychiatry at Cornell. He knows these things. I didn't. He said, no, we're grieving. This is the way we're grieving. This by cutting each other. We love each other.
Thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.